Alright, so I think when I opened the car, my cell phone suddenly just turned on when it got the Bluetooth system, so it just turned off the camera. So let me go over this car in regards to what this car has and what feature is offering in regards to the safety feature that you guys have. Please keep in mind that I don't have the autopilot on this car, but when I took this car for service center, they loaned me a Tesla P85D, which has the autopilot system, and I did experience that whole system driving around the town, freeways, and the city, and for about, I would say, a month, I had that car. So I can pretty much give you guys a good understanding on what I think about this car's safety system and also active safety system in regards to that car. So, alright. So, let's go here. Let me turn up the music here for you guys real quick. Alright, so for this Tesla Model 3, if you have the autopilot, as far as I know, you have traffic aware cruise control, you have what else do you have? You have pre-collision warning, automatic braking, and there's a couple more system, I think, in regards to having the autopilot feature. But you know, you're missing out on, it doesn't have a blind spot monitoring system for this car. And I know, I heard that Elon is trying to come up with a system that will be updated later on and push to the update that will have that particular setup for this car. But this time, this car does not have a blind spot monitoring system. So even people might say, you know, oh well, you know, when you look at the screen, you see a car, but you don't want to look at the screen when you're driving this car. What you want to do is you want to be focused on the road, and you know, when you switch lanes, the car should let you know there's a car there, even though you look both ways, that you might miss, even specifically at night too. So this car doesn't have anything. It doesn't have a blind spot monitoring system here. Hopefully in the future, you know, Tesla will add something where using those other two side camera will get you an indication about that system. But right now, it doesn't have that system. And the second thing is, when you back up for this car, when you're reversing, it doesn't have the rear cross traffic alert also. Even though this camera would turns on, you know, even though this camera would turns on at the back, it doesn't give you a lot of information, you know, and the mirrors that you have here is really small too. So, you know, you're not seeing the whole picture. Even you're looking at here, you look both sides, and there's let's say if there's a big truck or van on your side, you're not gonna see a car there, not until you halfway through back up of your car, and then that's when you know there's a car there. So I'm not saying that, you know, that's like a big issue. You just have to be more aware when you back off and make sure, you know, you look both ways before you do that. But then, you know, this is a 2018 car, which is, you know, this is kind of like an iPhone moment for this car, and a lot of people mentioned that. But you know, it's lacking some of the safety features that it should have already. Specifically, those two things that I mentioned to you guys, the blind spot monitoring system and also the rear cross traffic alert. Those should have been standard. And the other thing is, for this car, like I mentioned to you guys, I didn't get the autopilot system. And by not getting that added to your car, it actually just kind of gives you a dumb cruise control when you drive this car. So, you know, I'm not trying to say like I'm not a Tesla hater for a lot of people, which is a lot of people defend Tesla most of the time, but I feel like this is one of those things or aspect of the car that they need to improve, especially now that more and more people will be driving this car. You know, once that 35,000 car comes in, 35K car comes in, you can expect that you should have a lot of this type of safety feature already added on a car, right? So when I drove this car and I turned on the cruise control, it's just kind of like a dumb cruise control. You just set the speed with the with the buttons here, you can set the speed up and down, and that's basically it. So if you there's a car in front of you, once you turn this on, it's gonna hit that car, even though it might prevent hitting that car to the forward collision warning, but then you don't want to rely on that having the cruise control, right? So maybe I'm not just fully aware, but that's how I've been driving it, and that's why I see how this car works. Tesla knows that, by if they included the traffic aware cruise control, a lot of people might not even buy the autopilot system already for the car, which costs $5,000, right? So Tesla is smart enough, or I feel on their end they're smart enough to do that so they can earn more money and put that money towards their investment for the next car and the next car. But you know what, come on, right? You already have the Model S, the X, and now the 3. By this time around, that cost should have been lessened, or at least those type of features should have been standard for this car, because a lot of people were going to be driving this car, right? And it's a lower price car, and the cost of that system should have come down, where Tesla should have included that as a package when you pay up for like the 5,000K technology package, or like the moonroof and stuff. It should have been included there. I would have like to see Tesla include that system there without any extra cost. So the thing is, like, that's not even included. So you have a really smart car, but with a really dumb cruise system in place if you don't shell out 5K. So that's one thing that I don't like in regards to how Tesla is handling that kind of budget, or I guess trying to make money off of some of the people that they sell the car. And that's not even the worst thing. So let's say for me, I didn't include the autopilot system on this car, mainly because I don't drive that much. I don't take this car that much to the freeways, and because I commute to work, I usually we have a bus here in the city where I live, where it drops me up from where I work. So it's just it's just easier for me to take the bus. You can relax, and you don't have to pay a lot of expenses and stuff like that. But then not by not including it during my purchase for this car, Tesla is actually penalizing me when I decided to add that feature to the car. So for some of you guys who's gonna be configuring your car pretty soon, let's say if you're gonna wait maybe next year, or this year, when you do configure the long range battery, if you don't add it right then, Tesla will add 1K when you add it later on, which is, I feel like, come on, really? Why even do that? Why? That's just unfair for a lot of people. And I think it's kind of one of the things that I don't like right now in regards to Tesla, that's I feel is a bit shady, that they don't offer you as much safety feature in comparison to the Subaru, but then you pay almost twice of what I mean, not even twice, it's almost 3 times more. The Subaru costs $1,500, and this car, to add all of the safety features and the autopilot, which basically very similar to that, with able to change lanes left to right automatically, but then it's the same thing where it will let the car in front of you, and then it will keep that speed. The other thing that I didn't brought up to my first the other video about the Subaru is, it also have lane departure warning. So that car will actually switch you to your lane. If you're drifting up, it will actually move the steering wheel to the middle, but it won't actually take control of the car like the autopilot. The autopilot, if you let go for a certain amount of time, it will actually steer the steering wheel left to right when it needs to go. That car, it's more, they want you to make sure that you're still in control at the time, so it will shove you back to your lane if you don't signal to the right lane when you're merging to your left or right side of the freeways. So that's something that I feel like a lot of you guys will have to deal with moving forward. It's a big decision, right? Because this is $5,000, and if you don't purchase this car that feature right away on your Model 3, you have to pay 1 grand more, which is very unfair, I feel. And for for a safety, I feel that shouldn't be the case. You know, why would you take this car on a road trip not having traffic over cruise control? You know, it would just let you relax more when you drive, and you be more focused on the road too, instead of just, you know, you're tired and you're always putting your feet on the floor. So I'm not trying to like cherry pick a lot of the issue with this type of things in regards to safety for Tesla, but that's something that they need to really improve. And for the money that you have to spend, that's crazy. It's 6 grand to add those features. But you know what? The bad thing about this is a lot of people who buy their Model 3 now are buying that feature. So as long as everyone keep buying the feature and adding, you know, the feature to their car, Tesla is not gonna be forced to add or, you know, lessen the cost of this feature, this type of feature to buy in your car, because everyone's buying it, right? So if everyone is buying it, they're just gonna say, oh, everyone buying it, so why don't we just keep it as it is? We're not gonna decrease the price, the feature that you have in your car. I think you're okay with that. You know, it's nothing. You know, it's fine without having a blind spot monitoring. It's fine not having a rear cross traffic alert for your car. So that's something that they need to improve, and they need to bring that price down close enough to how the Subaru is, or maybe a little bit higher. So if you ask me, or my opinion in regards to how much the Tesla Autopilot should cost in comparison with what I showed you guys with the Subaru XB Crosstrek Eyesight system, I feel like the whole system should only cost 3 grand. That's, you know, when you add the Autopilot, it should just be 3 grand, right? And if you wanna, let's say later on they implemented the full self-driving feature of the car, then it should be a 1,000 add-on to that 3 grand, so total of 4 grand. So, you know, when you purchase the car, some people still might, I mean, for me 3 grand is still a lot, but then I'm just doubling what the Subaru XB Crosstrek have on their features to this car, so I can justify that 1,500 extra added cost. So that's what I feel, and I feel for most of you guys, it's gonna be a tough decision because it's a lot of money. So when I didn't add this feature to my car, it's almost $75 per month. If you don't add the features, if you add the feature, we'll add about $75 every month that you have to pay every month to pay up until you pay up the car. So it's just something that you guys need to be aware, and it's a tough decision, but I feel like if you don't drive that much into the freeways and you don't take the car a lot, it's not worth it. I don't think you guys should add the Autopilot, and at the same time with the missing blind spot monitoring system and also the rear cross traffic alert, it's not worth it at to this time where this Model 3 is with the system that it has on the car. It's not worth it, so we skip it if I were you. But if you're driving the car a lot and you know you're gonna be tired on driving in a long trip or to your work, then it might help you guys with lessen the burden of driving. Then you can justify to add that feature to your car. But having said that, you know, it's a toss up, right? So for me right now, it sucks that that type of feature is not in the car. At least they should just add the, you know, traffic aware cruise control as a standard feature with the you know, any base Model 3 or even the premium long range battery. Or when you add the technology part where you have the USB, the glass, those should be added already, I feel, on my end. So the less people buy the Autopilot, maybe the Tesla would think twice, you know, and think about maybe we should, you know, lessen the cost, or maybe we should add more feature to justify the cost. At this time, I don't think it's just you can justify how much you're paying for the Autopilot. All right, so that's one thing that I would tell you guys, not to just kind of jump right away think hard first before you purchase the car and before you add that feature. I know it's kind of one of those things that you can show your friends. It's, oh wow, that's, the car can drive, oh wow, it's a wow factor. I get it. Everyone wants to have that new things, but it's not worth it for the money that you have to pay. And it's bad enough for you, Tesla, to, ding the customer $1,000 more by not adding it when they buy the car and not having the autopilot. Shame on you, Tesla. So anyway, so that's my quick comparison between the Subaru XB Crosstrek Eyesight system and autopilot system, where for this car you pay $5,000 when you purchase the car, but for if you don't add the features, you pay an additional $1,000, total of $6,000 to add this whole thing. For this car, when you get this car, you only pay $1,500, where all of those features that I mentioned to you guys is already included. So value wise, this is a better value in regards to the safety features, right? So think twice and make sure you guys let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think in regards to the two safety feature system of the car. And am I wrong? I'm trying to describe to you guys this two system, but I feel like right now for a lot of the cars that I've driven, this is one of the best systems that I use when it comes to road trip and a lot of those stuff that I discussed with you guys. Tesla, they need to catch up more. And once that 35K car comes out, you gotta get a lot of those features in the car already. So a lot of people will be happy when they're driving the car. They'll feel safe that, this car is safe already in regards to crash tests and airbags and all those stuff. But it needs to go to that next level where, safety doesn't cost you a lot, and at the same time, it includes a lot too. All right. Thanks, guys.